Welcome in. I hope your week went as you hoped. Let's get the weekend started. Stamping first. Hello, my name is Anna Marie. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for over 20 years already, and I still love it. And I also love to teach classes, which is what I'm here to offer you today. It is Friday, yay, happy hour, but it's also birthday cards class. It's a series of episodes, 4 episodes in all, with birthday cards that you can create for all your favorite peeps. Usually I teach my classes live at the Just Stamp studio. Today instead I am bringing it to you live right here on Facebook. It's kind of like the same process of when I hold my classes live. I do all the designing, cutting, and prepping for my class participants, and we just relax and stamp together. And so the premise is the same for the live on Facebook class. I will be presenting the class to you, and you get to watch, see if you like the cards. If you do like the cards and you would like to recreate them along with me, I will do all the cutting and prepping and send it off to you in exchange for a small order. So to get the class kit that I'm presenting today, it's just a $35 order using the host code. For orders $50 and more, you're going to get 2 bonuses. You're going to get a bonus gift from me, and you're also going to get a Sale-a-bration pick. So that's what you're in for. Let's see. Oh, the only thing I won't be sending you is the stamps and ink, and that's by Stampin' Up! Policy. I can't send you stamped images, but if you are interested in the cards, you might want to consider putting the stamps on your order, or you could always swap them out for something similar that you have in your stash. Okay, but you must use the host code. The host code is what tells me that you want the card class. So use the host code, place your order, and it has to be received by Monday evening, and I will crank out the kit for you, send it out to you free of charge. Should arrive just about the time your Stampin' Up! Order arrives. So that is what's in store for you today. I am going to flip the camera. We're going to get started right away. By the way, if you can't stay for the entire class, you can always catch the replay right here on Facebook, or you can skip over to the YouTube channel and catch it there. You can also see other tutorials and classes while you're there. Might as well subscribe. So speaking of that, I hope that you will like, comment, and follow on the Facebook. That's what gets my audience growing and keeps me going. And when you're over at the YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe to that so you'll know when I post new classes and tutorials. All right, so I'm going to flip it over, show you the cards we're creating today, and tell you a little bit about what I've used and what my thinking was when I designed them. All right, let me get turned over, and I'm going to point you down. Hopefully we will land in a good spot. I already feel a little something going on here. Let's see if I can make it right. Okay, so it's not too bad. Let me push that into position. Let me know you're here. Post a comment. If you're new to me, let me know where you're from. And yes, okay, so here is a little bit about the birthday series. Hello, Debbie. Yay, you were just over on the Stamparista page as well. I pulled a winner for our challenge. Hello, Pam. Nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. Okay, so today my card class is going to be featuring a cute little set from the mini catalog. It is called Kite Delight, and oh my gosh, let's see. Mini catalog, that's the January to June catalog. It's a sweet little set. Perfect for spring birthdays and kite flying, with lots of different kite designs and birthday sentiments. And of course the tail to the kite, a cute little sun and the cloud. It could be an all occasion set as well. Your friendship is so uplifting. So really cute set. It's photopolymer, really easy to use, and I think it's like $18. It's a really good deal. Hello, Sandy. Thank you for joining. It is a Winnie the Pooh's blustery day here in beautiful Riverside, California. Just a beautiful sunshiny day, but a little bit breezy. All right, so that's the basis of what we're using. There is a die set I am bringing in. It's called Brilliant Rainbow Dies. It is from the Cute Rainbow Bundle, which is in the new mini catalog. So it's all rainbow focused with the clouds and a little scallop edging. Really super fun to work with. Those are the dies I'm working with in this class. You're gonna see the appearance of a nice cloud punch, and I am using the Sale-a-bration paper called, let's see, it is called Sunshine and Rainbows, and I think I've introduced this to you before. Really pretty, cute, or more cute, cheery patterns with the sun and the rainbows and the clouds, and of course it's always double-sided, so you have lots of nice choices, either with the images or the graphics behind, so we can do quite a few things, and I've seen quite a few things done with this paper pack. It's a really fun pack. I know I'm going to be doing a lot more with mine, and I'm just kind of putting up all the patterns and images that you get in this paper pack. Really pretty colors. There's Pool Party, Misty Moonlight, I believe. Oh my gosh, so many colors. Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody. Just super fun colors. Bermuda Bay. Kind of like a Fiesta print to me. And just random rainbows and more Bermuda Bay. You get lots of paper in this paper stack and lots of different patterns, lots of different ways to use it. All right, so let's see. We're taking that away, and I'm gonna get started. I'm gonna give a toast to the weekend. I've got a tiny bit of cab wine. The mixologist is running a little bit late, so hopefully I'll get a nice drinky winky a little bit later. Okay, so let me show you card number 1. Now, my thinking in this, this is a perfect card for someone who either is beginning stamping or wants to create quick, cute cards. Really cheerful colors. I agree, Sandy. These colors, and the Rainbow and Sunshine pack, it's really pretty, more misty, kind of, oh, I don't know, a little bit less bright in the color scheme. The color scheme I picked for my first card is a little bit brighter, and I'm going to share with you the colors I'm using on this one and walk you through creating it. And I've also got some new information to share. I made a friend this week, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. All right, so to create this card, we started with a Whisper White card base. This is the thick cardstock, so you always want to start with a nice thick weight or heavyweight cardstock for your base, and Stampin' Up's paper is just the thing. When you compare Stampin' Up's cardstock to other cardstocks out in the craft stores, this is superior. It's going to give you a nice firm foundation for your card. We are going to need some scraps to create our multicolored background, and the scraps I've pre-cut. They measure 1 inch by 4 1/4, and so I start with Bermuda Bay. I'm going to go on to Coastal Cabana, go with Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, and let me see if I can push this up so I'm in view here, and then Flirty Flamingo. So that's going to be my card background, and I'm also going to be needing a basic white in the layering weight, and this one measures 3 3/4 by 5 inches. That's what I'm going to be stamping on. I've got a little scrap of Whisper White to stamp and snip, and also a scrap of Flirty Flamingo. That's how I'm going to get my bows. Actually, I use scraps of Flirty Flamingo, Mango Melody, I've got them right here for you, Granny Apple Green, and Coastal Cabana, the same color schemes that are on the background. So let's go ahead and get our card base adhered and get it out of the way. Now, I mentioned I made a new friend just this week. I had my monthly card club in person here in the Stampin' Studio, and one of my dear friends and teammates, Nikki, needed some adhesive, and she was using, I think it was Snail, one of the previous adhesives that Stampin' Up! Used to carry. And you know, we switched over to Stamp & Seal and Seal Plus. And I have long whined about my relationship with Stamp & Seal. We have not gotten along in the past, but I had a refill to offer Nikki, and I told her one of the things I had been catching on my feed is a solution to the Stamp & Seal issue, the same issues I was having. So, and that is to use the silicone mat that we offer, and I think they're reasonably priced. Off the top of my head, I think they're like $6 or $8. If you use this right underneath the cardstock or paper that you're adhering or applying the adhesive to, you're gonna have better success. And so I gave it a shot. You know me, how flexible and I am, right? So I thought I'd give it a try, and I'm having good success. And I don't want to jinx myself. Let's see if it continues. So I still need to get the adhesive started, but by putting it on the silicone mat and pressing down, it's a nice smooth application, and I still get a little bit of this tacky stickiness, but I'm not having that jam like I was having previously. So the silicone mat is the answer to get along with that Stamp & Seal. I'm still gonna be using the Plus. It's a more aggressive adhesive, and it's a little bit pricier, which is why I wanted to kind of try to work with Seal, and it's working. And you can either add just small snippets, or you can do the whole trail. And I'm just going to create the background, and I am not measuring. It's all by eyeball. I'm leaving probably between 1/8 and 1/16 of an inch gap between the colors, and I'm just flat adhering everything. And I'm sort of following this scheme of a rainbow, Flirty Flamingo, Mango Melody, the Granny Apple Green, the Coastal Cabana, and the Bermuda Bay. So I'm doing the, what is that? The red, orange, yellow, green, let's see, blue, indigo, violet. That's the scheme I'm using. And as I said, I'm not measuring, just kind of eyeballing here, and gonna create my multicolored background. All right. Oh, Sonia, thank you so much for sharing. I appreciate that. And so it's Friday afternoon. We are getting ready for the weekend, but stamping first. And I've got my birthday cards that I'm creating with this cute set called Kite Delight. So, and I don't know if you can hear in the background, my mixologist in the background is giving my Drinky Winky a shake. I can hear it now. All right, so the last color that I'm going to put on is Bermuda Bay. And here I am, friends at last with Stamp & Seal. And it is really nice. The refills on Stamp & Seal are pretty reasonable. I think they're like $6, which is a little bit better than the Seal Plus. All right, so I could also now fold and burnish. I'm going to use my bone folder, and I'm going to move my silicone mat aside. Use my number 2 tool, my bone folder, to fold that down, give it a nice burnish, and we are ready to stamp. And let's see, the colors I'm using for this card, let me bring that back in for reference. I'm going to start by stamping in Bermuda Bay. And I'm stamping that nice big kite with the dots and the stripes. And I'm stamping on a scrap. I am going to hand snip that, which is no big deal. It's just straight lines. I'm on a piece of basic white, and I'm going to ink up. And I'm going to try and be pretty generous with the ink. This is a fairly solid kite, so I want to make sure I have lots of ink on my paper. Get a nice impression. And that is going to be hand snipped, so I'm going to bring that aside. Hopefully I won't get my hands inky off of it. And I'm ready to stamp also on my card layer that measures 3 3/4 by 5. And I am going to create the clouds. It's part of the stamp set using my Memento Black pad. And I've got, let's see, oh dear, I don't, oh, here we go. I'm going to be stamping off my cardstock, so I want to have a little protective layer on there. And I'm just going to repeat how I've laid it out here with my with my clouds. So this is just simple stamping. The only advanced technique on this particular card is a little bit of hand snipping and layering, and that's about it. So again, anybody could do it. It's really clean, kind of striking design, very cheerful, and it also requires like minimal supplies, so that's kind of nice. I have pre-mounted all my stamps, and I'm going to stamp also my greeting that says, "Another year flies by, happy birthday." I'm going to stamp it about a 1/2 inch from the bottom, and I've got to get my head up high. Hopefully I can get it on here straight. And that is another reason I prefer to stamp before I layer, because if I do muff it up, I can always flip it over and give it a second shot. All right, so I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. I need to also stamp my little kite tail. And so I'm going to bring in, this one has little bows on the tails to balance that out, and I'm going to kind of just bring it in here, positioning it between the clouds and the sentiment. I'm going to ink down. And I need to do a little bit of hand snipping. And actually, before I put that ink pad away, let me go ahead and stamp the inside of the card. Inside, you can see I stamped the sentiment, still from the stamp set, that says "Wishes for a Carefree Day," and I use that cute little sun that's in the stamp set. So let me bring that in as well. And this is the tricky one because I'm on a card base, so if I make a mistake, I'm going to have to layer it up somehow. So I have to be really careful that I don't mess up here. So again, I've got to get my head up over the camera to make sure that I'm straight, or at least fairly straight. All right, there we go. Wishes for a Carefree Day. There we go, perfect. And I'm going to add that sun from the stamp set, and I'm using Bumblebee. And I've done a couple of versions, one with Bumblebee, one with Mango Melody. However, I am having issues with my Mango Melody, but I'm going to share info on that, but that's for another video. So, and I kind of put the day right in the middle of the sun here so I can see overhead. These are photopolymer stamps, which is why I'm on my piercing mat. And there we go. So that's the inside of the card. And let's get back to snipping and adhering the card front. So I've got that going on, and I need my paper snips. Hopefully they're handy. And here they are. If I just put my hand down on my desk, I can get them. And again, this to hand snip is really simple. These are straight cuts, and I am leaving the tiniest little border. So easy. And so today is a perfect kite flying day. I said it was blustery in our neighborhood. This one goes on with dimensionals. So before I lose it, I'm going to go ahead and add the dimensionals and get it on my card front. Yay! And my, thank you. Perfect, thank you. Ooh. All right, let me get that in position And so that was the mixologist delivering the Drinky Winky. I'll share with you in just a second. Let me get through this card. And I'm just going to put it right over the tail there. Pop it off. A little bit of it is going to peek now. There we go. And the tails are paper pieced. I called out the colors. I have pre-stamped it, so I only need one of each color. And I'm just going to hand snip these little bows. And then adhere them right to the tail. So January is a good time to get started with the birthday cards, which is why I'm bringing you the series at the beginning of the year. If you can commit to sharing birthday greetings with friends and family like we used to do, and it makes it really easy when you have a stash of cards ready to go. And again, hand snipping, simple, straight lines. The bow is a little bit tricky because I don't want to go in too close where the knot is. I don't want two pieces of a bow, I just want one. So really, that. And I'm using the exact same colors that I used for the background. Flirty Flamingo, Mango Melody, Granny Apple Green. Let's see. All right. Looks like hopefully you're still with me. Always worries me when I see that spinning going on my device. Hopefully you didn't get disconnected. And as I said, if you can't stay with me the entire time, you can always catch the replay. And if you would like to receive the fixings to make the cards, just a $35 order and I will send them off to you. Place a $50 order, I'll send you a bonus gift, and you're going to get to pick a Sale-a-bration item. Sale-a-bration is the best promotion Stampin' Up! Does all year long. With every $50 order, you get to choose a free gift. There is a second level, so if you place a $100 order, you get to pick also from a level 2. Yeah, freezing going on there too, Betty. I'm sorry. I don't know what to do about that. Hopefully, when I download it and upload it, it'll be easier viewing. All right, so to get them onto the tail, I just use the tiniest amount of my favorite adhesive, Tombow liquid glue. And I'm just putting one tiny little dot on there. And here we go, let's see. Right like so. So I started with Flirty Flamingo, then I'm going to come up to the Mango Melody, the Granny Apple Green, and the the Coastal Cabana, and I thought I had already lost it. All right, so there we go. And we're almost done. There's one more thing I'd like to do just to create a little bit more depth. I'm going to bring in my light smoky slate blender, and I'm using the pen tip. I'm going to come in and I'm going to kind of outline the under part of the cloud to create that shadow effect. Right like so. So really goes really easy with the pen tip. And it's just the tiniest little line right underneath. It almost makes it look like the cloud is coming out at you. And it's just stamped flat on the layer. So there we go. What do you think? It's a really subtle difference. Yeah, just bring that in a little bit closer so you can kind of see how it makes it pop at just the tiniest bit. This layer is now adhered, and I did use Stampin' Dimensionals on the back, and I just popped them in all the corners. So 4 corners there. Whoops, stuck. All right, let me get these off. We're going to be almost done with card number 1. All right, this gets centered, and you have a little bit of a border, probably like 3/8 of a border all the way around. let's see. One more step, we're going to add our embellishments, and today I'm using the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. I think they're my go-to. I use them on so many projects, and they just work with almost anything. I am going to bring in my Take Your Pick tool, a favorite, and a very useful tool. I'm going to just put 3, and I put the medium size and the smaller. Just need to flip that over, and then one more small one right at the top there. And there is card number 1. Another year flies by, happy birthday. Nice bright cheery color scheme and really simple to do. Thank you, Sandy. I think it's pretty easy. And if you're looking to make your cards quick and get them out in your mailbox, this is a great card to do that cute little set too. There we go. So that was card number 1. Let me clear off the tabletop before I start losing everything. And I can share with you the little Drinky Winky the mixologist brought in. So look at this. Ooh, how fancy. He's even got the little orange wedge. So this is the, oh my gosh, the Cartagena Cool. Oh my gosh. Ew, I don't know. It's aged rum, cinnamon, dashes of orange, chocolate bitters, a cinnamon syrup, and orange peel. So, all right. It's got a nice flavor to it. This is one of the good spirit drinks from the cruise. So here we go, guys. Cheers. And it's got a little bit of sweetness to it. It's got that cinnamon going on. I like it. All right, so that was card number 1. Yeah, I know, Debbie, it is yummy. I could get used to them. That's what I like about Friday happy hour. I get a nice little drink out of it. So, okay, so let's go on. Card number 2 is a little bit more paper intense. Still with the Kite Delight stamp set. And I'm bringing in the paper from our free Sale-a-bration pick. It is it Rainbow and Sunshine or Sunshine and Rainbows? Really fun, beautiful colors. And I'm using some of the dyes from the Brilliant Rainbow dies and a little bit of layering. So this one's a little bit more labor intensive, a little bit higher skill level with the die cutting. We do have some blending going on, or rather coloring. So more layering. We've got a little bit of ribbon going on to just make a really cute card. Again, happy birthday, another year flies by, and you can see I use that little rainbow on the inside as well. So let me share with you how I created this card. This card has a card base of Misty Moonlight, which is one of our in colors, and the orientation on this one is horizontal, so it's 5.5 wide, 8.5 tall. I'm going to use one of those multicolored striped papers from my free paper pack. This measures 1.25 by 5.25. I have the Misty Moonlight with the little white crosses on it. This one measures 3.25 by 5.25. And I hope I pre-did it. Yes, I did. I pre-cut one of the little edging, the edges from the Brilliant Rainbow dies. So it's a little bit long. We're going to be snipping it. I think my paper width was about 1 inch thick. And I pre-die cut that. And so we're going to start off by layering. Oh, let me bring in my other papers still. I've got 4 by 5.25, and I have 2 of these basic whites. These are the layering weights. One is for our card front, one is for the inside of the card. I have the tiniest little rainbow snip, and this is the edge of the paper, so you don't have to waste when you your designer series paper, and some of the patterns are cut off. I'm using that on the edge. I have 2 little scraps for stamping, the greeting, the kites, and a scrap that's about 2 inches wide for the clouds. And so here's the thing, in the new mini catalog, there is a very nice punch called the Cloud Punch. And so we're gonna need 3 of those for our card. I'll go ahead and show you. It's so easy, I love punches. Just insert and pop. No little device or stamp and cut and emboss machine needed. I just did my 3 punches, so easy. And I am going to be using on this card, I'm going to use Magenta Madness, Granny Apple Green, Mango Melody, and I'm going to be blending, so that's why this card's a little bit more experienced level. I've got blends that are in Granny Apple Green, Light Calypso Coral, Dark So Saffron, Dark Pool Party, and Misty Moonlight. So I'm going to be coloring a little bit with my blends, and we're going to be doing some kite tail tying as well. So lots of fun on this card. Still, it's not so difficult, it's just a little bit more labor intensive. So let me get started here. Take a little sip of the drinky poo. And I am going to start by adhering this rainbow edge to my pattern paper. And I'm going to try and, oh, let me kick out a couple of those extra pieces here. Just flat adhesive, which means I'm going to bring in my Tombow liquid glue. And let's see, I think I'll put it on the back of my paper, this layer here. And I'm gonna watch, let's see, I'm gonna watch for the placement of the rainbows, because I can go from rainbow to rainbow pretty easily. So I think there's 8 in between here. This is the entire die cut. I'm just gonna snip off the edges here, give it a nice clean finish. And this one as well. There we go. This layer now is going to be mounted on my front layer, and I'm going to do a little bit of snipping. There's the tiniest little curve arc that protrudes from there. There we go. And before I do that, though, I'm going to put on my multicolored stripes here. And again, just the tiniest little bit of adhesive. I could use my new friend, Seal, but I've got my old friend with me, my liquid glue. And this goes right abutted to the edge here. And this is just an extra layer that protects or helps you assemble the layers more easily. And when we mount it onto the card front, it's all going to be lifted there. So, with dimensionals, sorry. All right, this layer now gets adhered here, and you can see how nicely it shows off that pretty rainbow edge using just the tiniest amount of liquid glue. And it goes right like so, right up to the edges. And the thing about the multi-purpose is it's so forgiving. It'll shift over. There we go. All right, so we've got our background created. I'm going to take a couple of these clouds. They're going to be flat adhered, and I may as well adhere them now because I don't want to lose them. That's, to be totally honest, that's what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to do the placement just as I did on the original. One cloud is up at the top. So if you're a punch girl like I am, you are going to want this cloud punch. Really cute shape, nice size, and so easy to just insert and pop. And you got your cloud going on. And these are flat adhered. And this one comes up, I'm not being too exact, it comes up about 2 inches from the base of the card. And let's see, I'm going to continue on with this. I'm going to go ahead and add my third cloud, and this one gets elevated with dimensionals. So let's see if I still have my dimensionals handy. You know, I lose things on the tabletop so easily. And just as I thought I lost, oh no, here they are. I thought I was gonna have to use minis. So this is just gonna go on with a couple dimensionals on each side. There we go. And one more. I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna put it right around, oh, let's call it right there. All right, so next we need to do some stamping. So I'm gonna set that aside. And again, I did that just because I didn't want to lose any pieces. I'm gonna be doing stamping, so I'm gonna bring my piercing mat in, my scrap of basic white, and I'm gonna stamp the cards that I'm going to be hand snipping. And I'm going to start off with my colored inks, Granny Apple Green, and I will stamp that whiter kite. And these are going to be hand snipped. It's, again, the kites are so easy to snip. Just ink that down. And I think that's all for Granny Apple. And Mango Melody. I'm a little bit afraid of Mango Melody today because I had an issue with it, but I did learn some things about it that I'm going to be sharing with you. And I'm using the kite with just the grid on it. And I'm going to bring this in. And before I ink up, let me stamp down. And it's not bad. Let's see, I'm just going to bring that in here. And I have one more kite that I need. I need that cute little kite with the flowers, and that is going to be stamped in Magenta Madness. I don't use Magenta Madness very often. It's a nice bright pink. Perfect for the little flower designs here on this kite. And I'm going to stamp that down. All right, all of those are going to be hand snipped, but I need one more stamp, and that is the sentiment that says happy birthday. And it's going to be hand snipped. So I really only need the happy birthday. The another year flies by is going to go on the inside of the card. So let's see if I can just get the happy birthday on here. Photopolymer, you can see right through. So I'm just gonna stamp that down, voila. And that means I don't have to do any hand snipping on top. So I'm just trying to eliminate a little bit of work. All right, so next I am going to do some coloring. I'm gonna use the blends that I talked about. And so right inside that Mango Melody kite, I'm coloring in with the Dark So Saffron. And it's just got some color right inside the grids. Nothing at all intense or skilled required. So simple. We're just gonna pop on some colorful kites onto our card front. And these, I think almost any age group would like the cards. But I'm going to add in my, this is light Calypso Coral, coloring the background only of the floral kite. So I'm just going to come into the little spaces here. And I am using the brush tip, even though it's a little bit wider. The spacing in between the flowers is kind of wide, so it's pretty easy and it goes quickly. Pretty simple. We are going to be hand snipping, but again, simple snips because they're all straight lines. And let's see. So what do you think? Do you like these bright colors, or are you into more subtle colors? I used to think I was Regals. I loved all of the rich colors. Then of late, I have been leaning towards the subtles. I do like the Pool Party and the blush blossom. So it's hard to say. Maybe it's seasonal. So again, these brights are perfect for spring. And let's see, inside the green, the Granny Apple Green, I am coloring with light Granny Apple Green. And I'm just going to come in and do an overall coloring. I'm going to avoid these horizontal stripes going across so I can bring in a little bit of color. And Granny Apple Green is a nice bright green. And let's see, right through here. Right, like so. All right, so then I'm going to bring in my, let's see, dark So Saffron. This is for the floral centers. And I'm using the pen tip, just going to bring in and color in. So simple. And it looks like I have a little tiny fleck in there. Let's see if I can get that off. Nope, must have been in the inking. All right, so let's do something about these little horizontal stripes. I'm going to bring in my dark Pull Party and color those in. There we go. So easy with the brush tip, it goes really quickly. So there we go. And oops, I went a little bit outside the line, but that's okay because they're going to be hand snipped anyway. So I am ready to do my hand snipping. I'm going to close this up so I don't get inky. Bring in my paper snips and let's see, where are the paper snips? Right here. Okay, you all know I have two sets of snips, one for the ribbon, one for the paper. That's why I had my ribbon snips within reach, but the paper ones were there as well. So all I'm going to do is hand snip these out. They're going to be raised with dimensionals, which is why we snipped. I'm leaving the tiniest border there. All right. So how are your weekend plans going? Any great plans? I know that I feel lucky. I'm healthy. I know a lot of people are sick. I know attendance has been down at school. And I think, though, it's getting better. So we had that surge over holidays. I think people are getting better just by resting and staying home, hopefully. So nothing big on my weekend plans other than crafting. I'm expecting a nice big fat Stampin' Up! Shipment to come in. I had a customer order with a big fat order and I've got a few items in that box. Getting excited waiting for it now. All right. Right there. I've got 3 kites. I'm going to go ahead and snip my greeting. And I'm just kind of snipping in pretty tight to the happy birthday. And there we go. So I think that's all my pieces. I'm going to bring that aside. And before I start assembling, I'm going to bring in some white twine and my mini glue dots. And I am going to flip my kites over and add the tails. So the way I do that, I just take your pick tool. I'm going to apply a glue dot to the base of the kite where I'm going to put the tail. And just like so. This is the easiest way, I think. It's not too, and I'm just going to leave, I don't know, 5 inches. Better to have more than to not have enough, and then you really do waste. And I bring it into right there. And again, and one more. So cute. I remember flying kites as a kid and getting my mom's rags and tying the little bows, the tails on the kites. So much fun. And running and getting frustrated when they didn't catch and fly. All right, there we go. There are our kites. Let's go ahead and add them. So I'm going to add a Stampin' Dimensional to the back. And let's see, and I'm going to try to be strategic about it. I'm going to put that dimensional right at the twine to keep that secure. And let's see, the bigger ones I'll put a couple on. Let's see, that took off the backing as well. So typically I think kite flying starts around March, is that right? It's only January here and it's perfect kite flying weather. I know when I was in 4th grade teacher, I used to love to take the kids out to fly kites during PE or during recess time. So good times. All right, so let's add these to our card front. And I'm just gonna release the dimensional. Put this like so. And I'm just trying to repeat what I did earlier. Let's see, right like so. This one, the little Mango Melody kite comes tucked under that cloud. Just like so. And then the larger green one to the right. And so what I did was try to avoid any double stacking of dimensionals. So they're all the same height. And we need to add our tails to the kites. All right, so here we go. I'm bringing in my Bumblebee gingham ribbon, and I'm just gonna tie my little knots. So I'm not even gonna cut pieces yet. I'm gonna tie the knot, snip it, and I need 3 of these for the kites. So Kite Delight is a stamp set with no dies, and I know sometimes those get bypassed in the catalog. This is really sweet. It goes with so many other stamp sets that we have. And it's really kind of fun to make cards for all ages, men and women. All right, so we've got our 3 bows, and I am just going to add little glue dots and secure them down. So let's see, and some of my glue dots were not too sticky. I think I left them exposed to air. So I'm just gonna bring in the tail and kind of swish it around, put my little tie on there. And I will be trimming it up to my suiting next step. So it comes over top, and then one more. And it goes right like so. I'm gonna bring it around and bring it down. There we go. Okay, so next, thank you, Debbie. Now I'm gonna trim up the little bow. Debbie says, darling cards. And they're gonna be snipped to no longer than the layer. That's why I'm bringing that in there. Bring it off. And these are the ribbon scissors. That's why they cut so easily. And I'm going to snip the little bows just a tiny bit, more of an angle, just like so. All right. And I'll do one more snip. Okay, so last I need my sentiment, and this is going to get popped up with mini dimensionals, so I'm going to bring that in and just kind of balance them out. Let's see. That needs to be there. And again, I'm always avoiding the double stacking, so I'm looking carefully to placement so that I don't have dimensional on top of dimensional. And I'm going to put just the tiniest little bit of glue on the tip of it. It's going to layer atop a section of the card that already has a dimensional. So bringing it in here. There we go. And I'm ready to layer all of this now onto my Misty Moonlight card base. It is a 5.5 by 8.5 horizontal card. I pre-scored it. I just need my, let's see, my bone folder right here. And I'm going to bring this in and burnish that down. This gets adhered. I'm going to put dimensionals on the back. So right through here. And so some of my dimensionals are having a little bit of struggle. They're coming off with the both backings. Or maybe it's operator error. There we go. And these are going to be centered. We're going to have about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And then of course, let's see, I'm going to try to hold that little tail down. I'm going to bring in a mini glue dot. And let's see, my pick a tool. And I'm going to bring something to hold that down so it's not flopping around on the card. And just bring that in. And I just kind of push it over so it's not exposed too much. Yay, there we go. Thank you, Betty. They are cute and simple, and that's what makes them nice, is you can actually get them done without too much time invested. So you're going to have more cards done. Now, I'm not finished yet. I want to add my embellishments, going back to my rhinestones. And I'm going to do it the threes. And let's see, I also need to do the inside of the card. So it's a dark base, which means I want to have a neutral base, in this case Whisper White or Basic White. And it is a vertical orientation. And then let's see, also I need to clean the stamp. So let's see, let me bring in my chamois and clean up this stamp, because I only want to stamp part of the greeting. So I'm going to clean that up as best I can. And I'm going to double check, make sure it's clean by stamping down on a scrap. Pretty good. And I'm going to bring in Memento Black. And I just want the top of the sentiment that says, "Another year flies by." Again, photopolymer means we can see right through. I'm only inking up the top line. And I'm going to bring in my little scrap and make sure that I don't get any ghosting. Right, like so. All right, here we go. Whoops, there we go. And one last thing, I'm going to add the little rainbow from the paper stack, and I'm going to curve out the rainbow arches. And this gets adhered right to the base. And I'm just going to peek it in off the corner. Just like so. So you have a little bit of color on the inside of your card. This is flat adhered, that way you can sign the card easily without all the bumpiness of dimensionals. And it goes right inside here. And I'm going to avoid coming over the stamped area because I don't want to smudge. All right, so there is card number 2, Happy Birthday. Another year flies by. We use the Rainbow and Sunshine Designer Series paper stack, which is free from Sale-a-bration. And we use the dies for the Brilliant Rainbow dies to create that edging there. And the Rainbow Punch, so lots more going on this card. Took a little bit more time. So the first one was a nice beginner card. Second one is a little bit more advanced, but not terribly advanced. All right, so I'm going to bring that in. So we've got card number 1, card number 2. Let's go on with one more card. And this one, the skill level is upped just a tiny bit. Let me go ahead and clean up here. And yeah, got a big mess on my tabletop before I get started. So here we go. All right, so card number 3. The skill level is bumped up a little bit because we've got some heat embossing going on, some die cutting, and some blending. So here we go. On this one, I used the same sentiment, another year flies by, happy birthday. I did some heat embossing on the kites, when you open up. Wishes for a carefree day. And I will share with you how I made this and give you a couple of tips along the way too. So this one, as I said, I'm going to use my blending brushes. I've got some blending going on. I have some die cutting going on. This is stamped and adhered on the stitched rectangle, and I did pre-cut that. I didn't want you to have to watch me just hand cranking things. This is the biggest rectangle, and it's got that cute stitching along the edges. This is the one that measures 3 3/4 by 5 1/8, and that's what we're going to be blending on. I do have a layer that goes behind that. I've got basic black, which is 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. And then my color scheme on this card is, again, Granny Apple Green, and it's from the Brights. And so what I did was note if it's from the Bright or the Regals section. That way you can actually purchase the assortment of Bright papers, Regals paper, and you have a nice selection to work with. I'm using Gorgeous Grape, also a Bright. Poppy Parade, another Bright. Bermuda Bay, another Bright. And then from the Regals, I'm using Crushed Curry and Pumpkin Pie. So that's what I'm going to be stamping on. And our card base is going to be the thick basic white horizontal orientation. So let's get started with the blending. So I'm going to bring in my stitched rectangle, and for that I need the ink pad that's called Pacific Point. So this is also a Bright, and I used a tiny bit of Coastal Cabana, which I believe is a subtle. So we're going to blend, and then we're going to do some heat embossing, and I'm going to bring that in there. And my technique with the blending is to use the acetate sheet. And if you don't have an acetate pack, this is one of the coverings from a stamp set. In fact, I think it was this particular stamp set. And I use that so that I can use my ink supply nicely. And I'll show you what I mean by that. All right, so I'm going to bring in a blending brush that I have just used for Pacific Point. I'm going to pick up some ink on the Pacific Point pad, and then I'm going to push it onto the acetate sheet. And that's because I don't want to have too much ink on there. I want to build my ink up slowly. Let me make some more space in here. There we go. And I'm going to bring this in and just kind of go in circular motion. I'm creating the sky with the blending brush. This is Pacific Point Oh, I have a little bit of a splotch there. That's okay. And I'm going to build more color. I do want it a little bit dark because I'm going to be stamping with white. So actually I'm going to stamp in Versamark and apply the white embossing powder. So it's going to be white ink. I'm going to pick up a little bit more and put it down gently, just a little at a time, and bring that out into a little bit of an oval, and just continue on with the circular motion, adding more color a little at a time. You don't want to pounce too much color on. It's just going to look like a blob. So bringing in with the blending brushes and just adding more and more color. And I'm doing this first because I actually want the ink to dry. This is dye ink and it is fast drying, but because I'm going to be heat embossing on it, I'm going to be stamping with Versamark ink and adding the embossing powder. And I don't want it to stick all over. I just want it to stick on the stamping or the stamped area. So nice dark Pacific point. And I just continue on until I've added as much color as I like. So this is totally to your preference. If you want it a little bit lighter, a little bit more subtle, then you just can stop. If you want it a little bit bolder, that you continue on with adding. All right, so I'm happy overall with that. That's enough with the Pacific point. I'm now going to bring in the Coastal Cabana, and I'm just going to blend the tiniest amount on the outside. So I'm just going to extend that blended area a little tiny bit, bringing in Coastal Cabana. It's very faint. It's the lighter blue, and it just kind of comes out to like a little cloudy sky area. All right, so there is our background. I'm going to push that aside so I don't get it inked up. And I'm going to push this out of the way. The next thing we're going to do is our stamping and heat embossing. And so I need, to start with the stamping, I need a Versamark pad. And I'm going to be stamping with my floral kite, so I need to get that cleaned up. Right now I've got color on it because I did stamp in magenta. So there we go. Make sure it's there. And this one's easy. What we're going to do is just bring in our cardstock. And I did do some in advance, so I'm not going to repeat all of these. It's the same process for each color. We're going to stamp with the floral kite using Versamark ink. And I'm going to stamp down, get a nice inking. And you can kind of see the kite on there. What I'm going to do next is, let's see, kind of crowded here. I am going to go ahead and add my embossing powder. So this is white embossing powder. And this gets poured right onto the stamped image. Just like so. So it's right now it's not melted and it's easily smudged or removed. So I don't want to layer that on top of anything. What I am going to do, however, is bring in our stitched rectangle, and I'm going to bring in a heat gun and dry that up just the tiniest bit. I want it to be dry. Again, I stamped with a dye ink, which is fast drying, but because I'm going to be stamping and applying embossing powder, I only want that embossing powder to latch onto the stamped area, the area that I stamped with the Versamark. In fact, I'm also going to have another little precaution. I'm going to take a little powdered stamping embossing putty and add the powder right over, because I don't want flecks of that powder flying all over. So I'm doing that. Then I'm going to stamp my sentiment, which is my happy birthday sentiment. Means I need to clean that stamp. And I'm just going to get off all the color I can. And I'm going to stamp in Versamark. So heat embossing was the first wow technique I learned, and it's really cool when you see it for the first time happening. It's like magic before your eyes when you start to see the powder melt, and I think it never goes away. That little shiny image, the raised surface of the stamped image, it's so cool and easily accomplished. So I'm stamping next with the Versamark, and I'm going to press down firmly. These letters, they're bold, but they're small, so I want to make sure I have enough Versamark on there. And I'm noticing already, I'm not sure how that's going to turn out. Let's see, I'm going to get my embossing powder. And I'm going to add the powder now to the sentiment. And you can't really see it on here at this point. I'm going to go ahead and add the powder. And there you go. I think I'm going to add a tiny bit more there. And I'm just tapping it on the back to get the excess off. And there's little areas that I see. There, that's better. And the next step is to heat emboss to melt the powder. So let's take care of that. I'm going to close up that powder. You don't want the heat gun on when the powder is around, because everything's going to blow. And this is just a matter of taking your heat gun and applying the heat, and it's really hot and it's a little bit noisy. So I'm going to hold it back a little. And it takes a little bit of time, not long. It needs to heat up, but you're going to see it melting. So a little bit noisy, I apologize for that. I already see it melting though. There we go. And then I'm going to get the kite and do the same. So question I often get asked by when you're done, you can tell if it's shiny, it is probably all melted. The powder is dull, so when you see the shininess come through, it has melted. And I usually do just a couple more seconds after that process, but that's how you know it's done. And when it's cooled off, you can actually feel the raised image. So, all right, now the next thing we're going to do, and as I said, I did a kite in each of the colors. I called out to you, uh-oh, I think I did the wrong color. I think I needed a, let's see, what color did I need? Poppy Parade. All right, so this one's going to look a little bit different. I did the wrong color for you. So to get these on, I just kind of laid them out, and let's see. I started at the far right. I know, kind of sad because I won't have Poppy Parade on here. I did the wrong color for you. Sorry about that. And let's see. I'm just gonna, well, it's not gonna be the same. I do miss Poppy Parade. Oh well. Okay, so the next step is, once I've kind of laid them out and I like it, so it's just a matter of some a little bit higher, some a little bit lower, and there we go. Some a little bit upright, and some at an angle. These are all flat adhered. So I'm just going to take, let's see, for this, I'm going to take my new friend seal and apply a little bit of adhesive at the back and attach these right in here. Fairly easy to do. And again, I'm just kind of trying to mimic what I did earlier. It's hard to get the exact same card every time. And let's see, oops, I've got text coming through as well. That kind of throws me off too. It doesn't take a lot to throw me off, you know that. Okay, so, okay, right through here. And then one final one. I'm going to bring it up the highest. There we go. And what I'm going to do is mount that on my basic black layer that's just a smidge bigger. And let's see, oops, bring back in my silicone mat, and I'm just going to add adhesive. And position it right in there. So I just have the tiniest little border of black peeking through behind this layer. Now I'm going to go ahead and snip off the ends of the kites. And I'm just going right along with the edge of the basic black. All right, and I'm going to add a little bit of twine. I'm going to wrap that in twine and tie a bow, and I'm going to help myself out here. I'm going to bring in a little mini glue dot, and let's see, I'm looking for my take your pick, and it's not going to be around, so what I'm going to do is use my, let's see if I can use my paper snips. And it's not the same. I'm just going to put a little dot where I'm going to want the twine to stay in position so I can tie a bow. I'm going to go ahead and wrap that. And whoops, snip it. And I'm going to take off the top layer of the glue dot to help me out. It's like having another hand with that glue dot there. All right, so let's see. Tie that, bring it underneath, and tie a nice little bow. And let's see if I can straighten that out. It's a little bit low, there we go. So that glue dot really helps if you're not struggling with the ribbon or the twine to hold it in place. And I can go ahead and snip the tails. There we go. This one is going to be mounted onto basic white. And I'm going to go ahead and burnish that down. Let's get some of the things out of the way. And again, this one goes on with dimensionals. And one more. And bring that over. I'm going to have a bit of a border on top and bottom. Now this is, again, one of those dies where it's not going to be the exact same border all the way around that you're used to because of the size of the die. There's a little bit more of a border above and below. All right, and of course we want to finish it off. We're going to be really generous with the bling, and I wish I had my, take your pick, it's going to be hard. And found it. Okay, so let's start with some of the bigger ones. We're going to bring in lots of rhinestones for lots of sparkle, and I'm going to lay out some of the larger ones and mid-size. So the rhinestones are going to be my gift to you if your order is $50 or more. Not only do you get a celebration pick, I will send you a packet of rhinestones. You're going to need them to embellish your cards. You do need to use the host code, and you need to get your order in by Monday evening. And I will send you the card kit and your gifts that you've earned. Of course, your order and your celebration item comes direct from Stampin' Up. But if you want to complete the class as I'm sharing with you, you just do that by placing an order. You'll get everything prepped and organized for you. And I'm being really generous with the rhinestones on this card. I want lots of bling, lots of sparkle. And we're going to do the inside as well. Let's stamp. Thank you, Sandy. The blended background makes it a nice setting for all of the images. Okay, so this inside is going to say wishes for a carefree day. So it's another year flies by, happy birthday, wishes for a carefree day. And let's see, I need my Memento black pad, and I also need my piercing mat. That gives you, the piercing mat guarantees a better image when you have photopolymer stamps, that you're going to get a better inking, and that's just because you have that little cush. Doesn't matter where the cush is, whether it's above the red rubber or below the paper. It's just going to be a nice surface. All right, there we go. There is the third card. Lots of technique, the blending, the heat embossing. And so we've got our 3 cards. Another year flies by. I'm going to swap that out because it bothers me that there's no Poppy Parade in there. Anyway, we've got our 3 cards for birthday class. And there you go. Super cute. What do you think? Are these cards, are they too youthful, too bright? Kind of curious what you're thinking. I love the little Kite Delight stamp set, really super cute. And as I said, it goes with a lot of different stamp sets. And if you stick with me, I'll share some info for you. All right, my friends, so if you would like this card class featuring the Kite Delight, the rainbow, the Brilliant Rainbow dies, and the Sunshine Rainbow Sale-a-bration gift, place a minimum $35 order to get all the fixings. Use the host code, and if your order is $50 or more, you'll get free embellishments from me and a free celebration gift. I know, Betty, the heat embossing is just cool. It's always a wow, and it does add to the card. And Stampin' Up! Does offer that embossing powder in different colors. So I like the white. Sometimes I like the metallics or even the black. It really does add a special touch to it. So nice technique. All right, besides card class this month, I want to invite you to join me in the Flowering Tulips class that is coming up. It is a class in the mail, and what we're making is the cute little magazine, mini magazine holder, and the cards inside using the Flowering Tulip stamp set. This one happens to be a gift card holder. So this class is $30. It includes a half a pack of the paper, the ribbon, and the cute little brushed butterfly embellishments. So that there's another card. That one has a vellum layer on it. This one is the twirl card. And we also have the Mango Melody tulips as well. They're all birthday cards. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. 2 birthday cards, a thinking of you card, and just a love you much card. So these are in the Flowering Tulips card class, $30, $39 shipped, and it does include your half a pack paper, your ribbon, and your embellishments. I think I have the link right above here. I'd also like to invite you to join me for bingo on Sunday, February 6th. You can join live and in person here in this Just Stamp studio or via Zoom. So I will place that link up above as well. Early bird registration for that is $30. And that as well includes a swag bag and your chance to win lots of prizes. All right. Besides that, if you want to catch the replay, you can skip over to the YouTube channel, Just Stamp with Anna Marie. I'll have the video loaded shortly. While you're there, go ahead and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments about today's class or your thoughts, make sure you post a comment right below. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we are off for Stamping First. Have a great weekend.